Good morning. Good. Glad you're still awake for me. Okay. A couple of things. Actually, I strive to be Jen and Robert, to be in retired ranks eventually. Gray hair goes with the job, obviously. Not to pick, but I used to have more hair too. But we get a little bit more relaxed. So what I'd like to do is first mention the syringe. In Massachusetts, we do have a decriminalization on the syringe, and it works very well. So I just wanted to just touch upon that. But my name is Glynn, and I'm the commander of the Special Investigations Unit in the Narcotics Unit for the City of Quincy, Massachusetts. I was told I have to emphasize Massachusetts. Okay, and I bring the greetings of the Mayor Thomas Koch and Chief Paul Keenan to you. So they say hello. I'm honored to be here, obviously, and I want to share some impressive results. They're not my results, they're results of the men and women of the Quincy Police Department. And I'm happy to see so many disciplines represented here between elected officials, current law enforcement, and the private sector law enforcement. That means an awful lot. It brings a lot of credibility. And I think we all have the ultimate goal to reduce opioid overdoses. Or I should say, the epidemic of opioid overdoses that are slowly killing the children and members of society that are the fabric of our communities. And again, I think everybody would agree, arresting alone is not going to solve the issues. So what I have up here is a picture. No one grew up wanting to be like that. They started as a ballerina or a child and ended up that way. Let's reverse that, okay? What I want to share with you is the results of the narcan program that we had in Quincy. I put that up there. The only important thing is the 27 years of the Quincy Police Department. An old dog can be taught new tricks. The majority of my career I've been dealing with law enforcement as far as narcotics. And we used to go out and arrest and arrest and arrest. How many arrests did you make today? How many arrests? And then I became the supervisor. And then I was the bean counter. How many arrests did you make? And then I became the commander. And took a different look at it. We're arresting the same people, generation after generation. I started with arresting younger individuals who then became parents, who are now grandparents. And I said, well, something's going on here. We have to stop this. We have to break this cycle. So, Quincy, just a quick background, is about 100,000 people in population. We border the coast, and we also border the city of Boston. So we have our issues, unlike any other community, or just much like others. We have approximately 200 sworn officers. We have a private ambulance service. I'm not sure how the system works down here. I'll get into the tier system because it plays very well into our program. And I have about 13 minutes worth of material, and since I'm from the Boston area, I can put that into 7, okay? And I promise I'll try and pronounce all of my R's, okay? I know that's an issue. So we have what's called the Peter theory. Prevention, the awareness, to make this problem out there. And we did a big publicity blitz to the public to show them the problem that's going on. And the education to call 911 has been alluded to earlier. Don't be afraid to call. We're not going to come and arrest you. We're going to come and save your life. That call, the officer in the cruiser, is not the person that's going to come and arrest you. That's the person that's going to come and save your life, to give you the choice to go on and hopefully get some treatment and not overdose again. The treatment is the narcan. Outstanding program. We get a little bit into that also. In the enforcement, the therapeutic arrest is what I call it. A gentleman up here earlier called it the quick dip. So we do have some, we do have some similarities. The therapeutic arrest, as I call it, is the only time that we may be able to get someone into treatment. Otherwise, that cycle of arrest, release, just continues on. Now we can try and divert them into some type of counseling, hopefully, and treatment. In recidivism, we are reduce the overdose deaths. All right, to reduce the overdose deaths. Now, the beginning. In Massachusetts, there were 7 pilot programs. The City of Quincy, in cooperation with Bay State Community Services, the Massachusetts Department of Public Health, and Dr. Wiley of the Boston Medical Center, who was very instrumental in the program, we became the 8th pilot program. Not the top 10 list that you'd really want to be on, okay? The purpose. The town of Braintree and the town of Weymouth abut the city of Quincy. In an 18-month period, approximately 18 to 2 years, there were 99 deaths. 46 males, 53 females. Those were deaths. The backgrounds, they were tradesmen. There was a Homeland Security officer, their wives, their brothers, their students, their sisters, their family members, their friends. So we took a look at that and we decided we have to do something. During that same time period, Quincy was responsible for 47 of the fatal overdoses. 47. 24 female, 23 male. The mayor at the time decided we have to fight the drugs, we have to do something, we have to have counseling, we have to have treatment. People are dying and they're being arrested. We need another outlet. So our EMS structure is, again, the police officers in Massachusetts were all first responders trained to deliver first aid, breathing techniques, and patient assessment. The fire department are EMTs, emergency medical technicians or paramedics, and then obviously the ambulance service, which are EMTs or paramedics. Currently, the Quincy Police Department carries narcan in all our cruisers. The fire department will shortly, and obviously the ambulance does. So in that tier system, we respond first, then the fire department, and then the ambulance. So we have 3 levels that will be able to help individuals. We have a 3-step approach, and this is how we broke it into our offices. When you show up in the scene, take a look. See if you can recognize the drug paraphernalia. We talked about the syringes that are there, or the bags, or the corner baggies. Recognize the drug. Recognize the need for narcan, and then the documentation of it. Now, the opiate, it could be a pharmaceutical, obviously. Our friends, OxyContin, Perc 30s, whatever may be the street term for down here, they're killing our people. So the documentation. The amazing results. As I said, it's not about me, it's about the Quincy Police Department, it's about society and how we can help. Within that time period, from October 2010 up until June 9th, 2012, fatal overdoses have been reduced to 16. So we went from the 40s down to 16. Dramatic. The only problem with that is there's 16 individuals, families, friends, and relatives that are still affected by this epidemic. Will we get it down to 0? I'm an optimist, I don't know. Maybe we will, maybe we won't. But let's do something, we have to do something, and that's where the nasal narcan comes into play. Here are our stats right across the board. Overdoses. In that same time period, 2010, October to June 9th, we had 156 overdoses in the city of Quincy. Okay? Out of those 16, obviously, the fatals that we just spoke about. Quincy Police Department officers deployed narcan 92 times, and we were able to have 90 successful reversals. So that is potentially 90 individuals that are alive today in order to seek treatment. So that's the option we gave them, the option of life. I'll bring that applause back, because again, it's not for me. It's back to the men and women that are out in the trenches working this. Out of those, there were 2 situations that had no effect, 2 situations. Those people, unfortunately, were already deceased. The 911 call didn't come in time. Their friends or family were afraid to call, thinking that they were going to be arrested. And I know when 911 is called, the police are on their way, people start, the hair in the back of their neck starts to raise up, the white knuckle syndrome if you're driving your car and you see the police. But we're more than that. We're there to help. And obviously enforce. I call it a therapeutic arrest sometimes. Gentleman earlier, quick dip. I think I'm going to take that back with me. We need to change it a little bit. And then at the bottom, out of all of this, we've only had 2 repeat offenders. Okay, 2 individuals, substance abusers, that were repeats, that we saved twice. So the fear that we were going to continuously reverse the opioid overdose in the same individuals was thrown out the window. We've only had 2. We've had bystander assist, family members, friends that have utilized the nasal narcan prior to the ambulance or the officer showing up, which is also great. And we had 1 drive-through, which was, it's kind of comical in one aspect. We had a family member feel so comfortable that they pulled up to the parking ramp at the police station, banged on the door, and the officers came out with the narcan, were able to administer and save that individual. So the joke is, would you like fries with that narcan? I don't know. I don't know if it would carry all the way here. But this somewhat, we have to have humor, okay? But the message there is, those people felt so comfortable to drive into the police station in order to seek assistance. Normally, people would go to the fire station to seek assistance. It's refreshing to see that they're actually coming to us and looking at us with a different light. Here are our friends, obviously, cynically, heroin, OxyContin, and pharmaceuticals. We know that the narcan temporarily takes it away, but we also have to get them to the hospital. It's not the street quick fix. It's a Band-Aid, but we have to get them to the hospital because obviously that narcotic will come back. We kind of think of it as scrubbing bubbles, if you could. My crazy analogies. My wife says, don't talk about stuff like that. But it does. It goes in between the receptors in the brain and it scrubs the heroin or the opiate away for a period of time so that person can start to breathe, restore their heartbeat, and be brought to the hospital. Life-saving time. The narcan deployment as far as the city of Quincy is concerned, we have it in all of our cruisers. We deploy 15 cruisers per shift. Every officer has the availability of the narcan in that cruiser. We have it in our booking area for someone that is arrested out on the street for other charges that are brought in that may overdose, or if someone overdoses in the cell. It's there in the booking area. It's in all of our drug unit officers. They carry it in the event that they come across someone. It's also in our marine units. We have 3 boats. It's in our canine units also. And someone said, why do you give it to the canines? Well, they're officers too, not the dogs, but they're honorary officers. But those officers are out there also. But these are drug detection canines. And my theory was that if an opiate could overdose a human being, what is the next step? It could overdose that canine. And why couldn't we use the narcan on that animal? We spoke to some veterinarians and so forth. They didn't see any reason why not. What's the end result going to be? The animal will probably die if we don't. It doesn't have any ill effects. So they all carry it for a dual purpose, for the general public and for their partner, their canine. Very simple product. If you haven't seen it, pop the yellows, pop the red, insert and spray. Very, very simple to put together. Very, very simple to use. And as you can see, it's really no larger than a Sharpie marker. And spray up each nostril if you're not familiar with it. 30 to 90 seconds, maybe 120 seconds, you'll see some type of response, or we give a second dose. We carry 2 doses in every cruiser. Everyone that has it, every officer is trained, and it's an outstanding project so far. And obviously we need the documentation in the back for statistical value for the Department of Public Health in Massachusetts. We gather the sex, the age, the location of the overdose in order to track that, and also to be resupplied. We are a pilot program. We eventually will become our own program to continue the fight to reduce the overdose issues. And again, our motto in Quincy is have compassion for those less fortunate than ourselves. And I'd just like to say a few words. Let this mindset of thinking outside the box, okay, become contagious and spread through society, because our mission is to protect and serve. And isn't that what the narcan does? It protects our people, it serves them. We're a branch of EMS as far as law enforcement goes, and that's my philosophy as far as how I run the program. So, we'd like to thank our partners. We think our partners adapt to the ever-changing issues in society today. So I'd just like to leave you with one thing. In the words of Ralph Waldo Emerson, do not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. And I believe that's what nasal narcan does. It'll be the beginning of helping to provide the choices to individuals that are addicted to the opiates, which are killing them. We have to reverse that. Again, the arrest alone is not going to solve the problem, but I will use the quick dip. I thank you for your time and letting me present to you today. Thank you.